You never expect it to be a whisper, not out here, not past Jupiter's cold eye and Saturn's rings of ice, but that's what it was. A whisper on a frequency that shouldn't have existed. Faint, childlike, not in pitch but in weight, like something fragile, like something that wasn't meant to be heard at all. The Andaris relay caught it first, buried deep in the static of the Kuiper net. It wasn't a language. Not at first. It was a pattern, a recursive loop, pulsing every 11 minutes and 13 seconds. Always 11:13. Always that pause. We assumed it was a pulsar echo or some remnant drone bouncing off forgotten debris fields. But then it began to change. Morph, respond. I was in cryo-sleep when they decoded the first phrase. When I woke, the words had already been branded across every mind aboard the Astraeus IX. We wait in the bone light. They said it in whispers now, not because we believed, but because we feared what believing would mean. I remember Commander Arlen staring at the spectral analysis for hours, lips twitching, as if the phrase wasn't just heard, but felt. And then came the coordinates. 47 digits long. A starless stretch of black between Segura 9 and the Abyssal Rift. A place where sensors returned nothing but noise, and even the black holes seemed to avoid. We had no directive to follow, no mission orders left intact. Just that signal and the sense, deep in the marrow, that whatever was calling us had been waiting far longer than humanity had existed. The ship didn't feel like it belonged to us after that. Hallways felt too long, gravity would stutter during sleep shifts, and in the observation dome, sometimes, the stars would blink in rhythm. 11:13, 11:13, 11:13. We joked at first that the signal was some long-lost military I caught in a feedback loop, but none of us laughed when Lieutenant Sarin tore out her own transmitter chip and said she could still hear it, louder now, under her skin. We tried to confine her. We tried to sedate her, but by then it was in all of us. That whisper, not through the ears but beneath the flesh, like subharmonic codes rewriting something in our cells. It wasn't long before the course changed on its own. The auto-nav rejected manual input. Every override rerouted us back to those coordinates, and then the stars began to vanish from our scopes, one by one, as we passed beyond the mapped void. When we arrived, we didn't see a base, not in the way you think of one. No structure, no landing pads, just absence, a gaping, carved absence, a chasm of impossible geometry suspended in the black. It looked like a thought someone forgot to finish. It looked like guilt. Or maybe it was a wound. We scanned it anyway. We lit it with pulse LiDAR, and the light didn't come back. That night, we all dreamed the same dream. A voice not speaking to us, but through us. And it didn't ask questions. It didn't give demands. It simply remembered. Things none of us should have known. Memories not our own. Echoes from a war before time. Whispers of species harvested like crops, and stars devoured like kindling. We should have turned back, burned the engines, torn out the core, and scattered ourselves to the void. But curiosity isn't just a flaw, it's a directive. So we docked, and everything we knew about fear, became obsolete. I don't remember walking. I don't remember moving at all, but somehow we advanced, step by step, into the impossible geometry of the structure. No halls, no signs, just folds of space, layered like muscle, like tissue stitched across ancient scars. The air, if you can call it that, pulsed with slow biological rhythm, not mechanical, not synthetic. This place wasn't engineered. It grew. It remembered its purpose the way skin remembers a wound. And we, uninvited, became irritants in its nervous system. The further we traveled, the more it spoke to us. Not in words, not even in thought, but in recognition. It pulled from us, extracted every shadow of memory we tried to hide. It wasn't violent, it was clinical, surgical. It dissected our regrets like samples beneath a microscope. Lieutenant Maris was the first to collapse, knees buckling, helmet pressed against a wall that wasn't a wall, muttering the same sentence again and again. I didn't open the hatch. We didn't know what she meant, but the structure did. It projected it, not in holograms, not in images, in feeling. Suddenly we were all there, in her memory. A decompression event on Ceres Outpost 7, 17 dead. The record said a power failure, but Maris, she had overridden the fail-safes to save her brother. The base had vented. She'd lived. The rest hadn't. She'd buried it under metals and reassignments, and this place, this ancient cathedral of thought, pulled it up like marrow from bone. That's when we understood. This wasn't a facility. It was a mind, a neural archive, a sentient mausoleum, built not for containment, but preservation of thought, of memory, of error. Not its own, but of those who dared to come near. It didn't kill you, it recorded you. Every mistake, every fracture of guilt, every ethical compromise stored like data cataloged in flesh. Maris began to scream, her voice glitched, stuttering through our comms in bursts of garbled binary. We watched as her suit folded inward, not crumpling, reconstructing, as if the material had been recognized, assessed, and reprocessed. She didn't die, she simply changed. Her body wasn't broken, it was translated. Bent into something the structure could read. We ran. Arlen ordered fallback, but no matter which direction we turned, the corridors, if you could call them that, looped into each other. Infinite recursion, space folding inward. The place wasn't spatial, it was psychological. Our path forward wasn't determined by steps, but by memories. Each junction pulsed with the scent of the past, drawing us forward like moths to trauma. Then the walls began to breathe, not metaphorically, literally. We watched them pulse, stretch, and compress, like a chest rising beneath a sheet. The architecture had shifted. It had noticed us. Not with hostility, with interest. We were new, uncatalogued. And that meant we had value. I remember Arlen stopping mid-run, his wife, their last meal before the mining accident, not recorded, not imagined, reconstructed. The place hadn't just read his mind, it had rebuilt it, in full fidelity. Their voices, their movements, and then their deaths played back in a loop frame by frame. As if his memory were just a tape. That was the moment we realized. It wasn't learning us, it was archiving us. Stripping our minds layer by layer, categorizing pain by frequency and tone. Not for punishment, but for storage. We weren't explorers anymore, we were exhibits. We found them not by choice, not by map or motion, but because the structure intended for us to see them. The others, the ones who came before. There was no warning. One moment we were navigating a vein-like corridor that pulsed with a crimson glow, and the next, the space opened around us like a revelation. A chamber, spherical and vast, a hollow neuron in the brain of this unfathomable mind, and within it, thousands, suspended, perfectly still, not dead, not truly alive. Bodies, or what remained of them. They floated, adrift in vertical strands of light that pulsed in perfect synchrony with the rhythm we could no longer